Welcome to the Players League, presented by Brightspeed Fiber Internet, an innovative program connecting gaming, STEM, education, and real-world career opportunities.
Our mission is clear: empower students through competition, mentorship, and hands-on learning experiences to shape the leaders of tomorrow.
The Players League combines esports with an extensive STEM curriculum focused on content creation. Across 10 lessons, students master essential skills like storyboarding, filming, and video editing, culminating in the creation of compelling business advertisements.
These experiences open pathways to careers in marketing, entertainment, technology, broadcasting, and beyond.
Competition fuels engagement and growth. Students compete regionally in an exciting Madden 25 tournament, showcasing their strategic thinking and gaming prowess. But the impact extends far beyond gameplay. As for our program activity, connect students with industry experts who offer real-world insights into dynamic career possibilities.
I heard when we first joined that there would be NFL players, but I wasn't really expecting like big name NFL players to be here. So it was really cool seeing Jonathan Stewart and the wide receiver that helped get my team to the Super Bowl.
From Houston and the Carolinas to Green Bay and New England, Player League spans communities, building foundational skills for thriving careers in marketing, entertainment, and communications.
Uniquely, students benefit from the mentorship by the former NFL players who provide inspirational credibility and practical advice drawn from their elite athletic experiences.
This program's pinnacle is a live, in-person championships during the NFL Draft in Green Bay, where top schools from each region compete for both STEM and Madden titles. Programs like the Players League matter because they bridge passion and opportunity, empowering students through transformative education and mentorship.
Join the Players League. Compete, create, and discover your future.
All right, here, great introduction there. We're here in Green Bay, Wisconsin, Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge, and multiplied with Brightspeed Players League. We got a whole bunch of fun stuff going on here. Like, so basically, when you find that power up in Super Mario, right?
That's right.
Boom, 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 you get that thing, you go extra large. That's what we're doing. So we got my podcast, we got the Players League that has been going on since Super Bowl. This past Super Bowl where Philadelphia won, so in down New Orleans, it started there for us. But now we're made it here through to Green Bay, Wisconsin. My man to my left here, Rick Suarez, one of the managing directors of the Stay Plugged In, also part of the Players League. And then to my right, I have some of the players. So give me your name here.
I am Anakin. I am representing Bayport High School in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
All right, and next.
I'm Carden, and I'm here to represent Green Bay High School. Wait, Green Bay?
Southwest.
Southwest
There you go.
High School in Green Bay. There
Yep.
you
So,
go.
first off, nervous a little bit.
Yeah, a little nervous.
I can't blame you. We're
Yeah.
here during the NFL draft. I don't know if they can see the backdrop. We're right by
Lambeau
Lambeau Field, right?
Yep.
Which is awesome. But I'm excited. This is, for me, the culmination of all of your efforts of what you've been working on so diligently, not just you all, but your teams, to compete, not just in the game, but in the project, right? The Super Bowl ad, right? That's what we are dying to see and kind of see how y'all did in general and everything else. So we want to learn a little bit about your background, what got you to play in the Players League, what interested you, what did you even think coming in, but then what did you get out of it? So I'm going to start with both I and me. You're a little nervous. I'm going to start with Annika.
All right.
For you, talk to me about even before the league started and you got the invite. Hey, Players League, you're going to be able to play Madden, which not a lot of kids play Madden. And then you're going to have to do a STEM project. What was your initial thought?
Well, my initial thoughts were, well, at Bayport we have a video production area that we do, and like I'm one of the main people that are there all the time. So really wasn't that nervous on the STEM side, but on the Madden side, I don't really play Madden that much or follow football that much. But it was fun though, coming in, getting to learn it with one of our teammates, Kale. I forget how to say his name, but he's really good at Madden. Was able to teach me about the game, and it was pretty fun coming in. So
you collaborated.
Yeah.
So it sounds like he taught you a little bit about the game. Were you able to show him a little bit on the STEM?
yes,
Love to see
Great.
that. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
That's what it's all about.
Learn.
How about for you?
For me, well,
What do you think coming in?
coming in, I didn't know what was going on at first. All right, then when we went to the meeting, I was like, okay, I understand a bit of it.
All right.
Initially, I wanted to like understand more about like the aspect of like editing and all that like computer software stuff.
Sure.
Because I don't know how to do that.
Yep.
So I really wanted to know how to do that. So
You were
Alright.
curious.
yeah, I was curious. I was really curious.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Since you're curious, I'm curious.
Yeah.
When you were able to see Players League, and we obviously advertised it as, hey, we're going to have some of the NFL football players, some current, some ex, be on board. And then you got to understand that Ahman Green, the all-time leading rusher, here in your own backyard, was going to be a part of it. Was that exciting?
yeah, I'd say so.
Yeah.
It's really fun.
Yeah. I think you had a jersey that
I
I
do.
saw a little bit
I do.
earlier,
It's
right?
downstairs right now. Yeah,
Nice.
Whose jersey is it?
Ahman Green.
Oh,
There you go.
yeah. Dope.
So there you go. Ties it all
Gotta
together.
hit it up.
For you, you played,
Yeah.
right? And this type of opportunity, if you can imagine, right, growing up, if this opportunity was brought to you, you know, Brightspeed is able to help us kind of provide the resources to bring this opportunity directly to these students, not just here
Definitely.
in Green Bay, but in a variety of different cities that we're working in.
Yep.
And this was available to you coming up as a football player on a football team,
Yes.
knowing that your love of gaming.
Man.
How would you have been?
Man, no brainer. I would have been head over heels. Like, not even to contain myself to know that, because I was always gaming, you know, as a young kid. My dad introduced it to me when I was young. And so, along with, you know, playing traditional sports, football, baseball, basketball, having good grades, to get my games. You know, I had to earn my video games through my grades, basically. And so that was the motivation. But so if I had this opportunity for myself at your ages going, you know, in high school now, I don't know what, you know, I would have to probably definitely split time between the football field. I know my coaches be like, what's going on? You got Madden over here, you got college football, and you got high school. Yeah. I was like, we got to figure out something because it was something I was like very passionate about. So from I say from the gaming aspect of it, you know, what is y'all passion behind y'all being in the esports programs at both y'all schools?
I can go first, yeah. It was fun. I enjoyed it a lot because I had to like rack my brain around like learning new things and like putting everything together.
Mm-hmm.
And I was really new because I've never been in esports before, so I just like jumped in like,
I like it.
randomly. So
Yeah. Then don't put your toe in and just go full jump in the pool.
yeah.
There you go. I like that.
That.
You know, by yourself, Anakin.
Well, I've been a part of esports for like a while, but jumping into this, it was something different because it was like not on the state level. It was more of like a competitive level thing with like other areas outside of Wisconsin. So it was fun like dipping our toes into that. So
Man, how was that? Because like you just mentioned, you usually have you're competing against Green Bay schools,
Yep.
or even Appleton schools, or further up north high schools. What was the feeling now? You're playing against schools from North Carolina, from I say New England and Houston area. What was that feeling like going into those games?
it was different knowing that like they're not like so many miles away from you, like in the same state. It's like there's other gamers out there like that you can communicate with and everything. It was nice to see that.
So, talk to me about what some of the biggest challenges in this league. Obviously we started with our launch back in February now, and now we're at the final. Final product is here. We're going to have the finals tomorrow on the Madden side, etc. As you walk through this process, I'm just curious, what was the hardest part? What was the biggest hurdle that you had to overcome in some capacity that you're like, oh, I don't know if we can get through this? So I'm going to start with Anakin.
The deadlines, those were like the most challenging thing to get over. We were like, we have to get all this filming done on this day, this filming on this day, and then we had to like edit it on the day that it was due, because like it was hectic because we had our Valorant team playing, we had our league team playing, and I commentate for both of those, so like I have to
Double
like,
dipping.
yeah, it's a little difficult, but yeah,
You were doing a lot.
I was doing a lot, yeah.
You were juggling. But that,
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, we've seen the commercials already. We won't share too much, but you handled the deadlines well. And by the way, in the real world, you use the deadlines.
Yes. I was gonna say, that's the real world.
Is it?
Yeah.
How about for you?
For me, it was the same thing too. Like deadlines, we were really tough on deadlines too.
Yeah.
And like, we all had stuff to do. Like we all had other stuff to do other than like STEM. All right. So it was really hard to like
You
come
got
together.
homework and everything.
Yeah, homework.
Yep.
Other tournaments going on in esports. Our actors doing the games,
Mhm.
the Madden games in the middle of the Madden games, and it was really different. It was difficult to manage around that and like come together and
Good.
come together and like finish the product. Like,
Right.
The same thing happened to me too. Like for the final product, we had we finished like yesterday.
Yeah, we did
finish-
too here, so yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
you did it in time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you finished yesterday or 4 weeks ago. It feels worse, right, pressure-wise, but you got it done.
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Trust me. As long
Yeah.
as you get it done. So, with that, I'm going to switch over to a question for Ahman.
Yeah.
You have your podcast. You do it every single week, religiously.
Yes.
Week
Knock it
in, week out. You got to come up with topic matter,
Yes.
over and over guests, everything else. There's a lot of work that goes on in the background. And I bring this up because what y'all did, that leads directly to careers.
Yep.
People of need based on the skill sets that you guys were able to implement in this classroom. Talk about that for your podcast and kind of what they do, how that can interact with someone like you or any other influencer or any other type of career
Yeah.
similar to what they went through.
Yeah, so like, doing the runner show, right? Or getting ready for the runner show, you're basically thinking ahead, like, all right, what topics we need to hit, what question I need to develop 5 or 6 questions for this interview right now, or I need to look at the video so I know what's coming, so I kind of know what I'm talking about. If it's a video you can't watch, but the audience sees, so you gotta work on that type of stuff. I was able to learn that type of I say techniques and stuff like that from the NFL broadcasting boot camps that I went to, and so that's basically some of the things that I know you guys had to deal with. Well, I say in terms of like building out a runner show, or even say the one thing I haven't done, which I'd like that they do, is the storyboarding.
Yeah.
So how was that storyboarding for both of y'all? What was that experience like? Because I know that, because I'm not a great artist. My wife's in the background. She my artwork game is terrible. But for what y'all had to do with the storyboarding, how was that process?
Well, I was throwing the storyboard because I was in Bayport video production class that we have, and we have to do storyboards for our productions that we have to do to get them checked off and ready to go. So like everybody in our group was just like, just let Anakin do the storyboard. And I'm like, sure, I'll do it.
You were the guy.
Yep.
You were the guy.
Okay.
How about for you?
That was my first time doing a storyboard, and I'm not a awesome or amazing drawer. And I was the only
Fair.
person in the storyboard. I saw the live stream last time. I was the only person to like draw a stick figure. I was the only stick figure person.
I would have been with you right there.
I saw everyone else's storyboard, and I was like, okay, these guys are a lot better than me at drawing.
Oh man. So real quick question. So how does that feel now that you understand like what you just learned? Like you got now a tool for your toolbox moving forward for both of you guys going to, you're in high school now, but in a few years or maybe this year you'll be graduating. How's that feel knowing that you got new knowledge for yourself moving forward?
I feel like with that experience, I know how to do it more efficiently now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
More confidence in it?
Yeah, more confident in it and planning wise and
Awesome.
how to just write.
Yeah, get it done.
Love
Get
it.
done.
Basically, all that he just said, it's just about getting that experience to be ready to do it in case if you need to do it anytime in the future. So
There you go.
Cool. Well, I know we're about to wrap up because we're going to have a number of different hosts on this show today, and we'll have a certain amount of time. Talk to me about the experience here. Right now, I know you live here. Don't get me wrong, but the NFL draft is in your backyard. You did get to interact with Ahman Green as well as other players, but also you were able to interact with different companies as well as different colleges. So, looking back at all of it, if you can talk to me just about your biggest takeaway, what was the best part of it in general? What do you think that would be, or what will resonate when you go home in a month from now or 2 months from now? You'll forget a lot of it, but what do you think will stick out that you'll remember?
definitely making the commercial. That was the best part of this whole thing, in my opinion, just having to have fun with my friends and make something for a cool company like Brightspeed. It was pretty fun.
Love to hear that.
For me, it's kind of difficult because there's a lot of cool stuff that happened, like STEM portion about creating something from scratch, and meeting with some football players too. That was a cool meeting, and listening to what they did and if they're still in the team or not, and what they did in the after football stuff. That was really cool, and just learning about stuff that I did not know about at all.
Understood.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Right.
for me, I appreciate you guys being a part of the program.
Yep.
You know, taking that leap of faith and trying something new. Sometimes that's all it takes to really spark an interest in something that you might find life-changing, frankly, at the end of the day. So I appreciate you guys just being here. Enjoy the content house here the rest of tonight. The draft is going on. Big night tonight. You're a Green Bay fan, I'm going to assume
Yep.
by your hat. Are you a Green Bay fan?
I'm not.
Don't
I
follow
don't follow football
That's
at
okay.
all.
That's okay. Is there anyone in particular you're looking for from a draft pick?
Not really, no.
Okay. You wish you had him again, don't you?
A little bit, yeah.
They got Josh. He does a good job right
He
now.
does. He
Yep.
does. He
Yep.
does.
So
That's all I have. I don't know if you have any last
no,
parting shot.
no, I don't. I just want to say good job. You know, because I already know the hard work you put in, and I get it because I do it every day in terms of run a show ready, posting on social media. I don't know if did they have to post on social media or anything like
No.
that?
No.
Yeah, but that's
Just
part
all
of
the behind the scenes. For
yeah,
the
that's
commercial,
but that's part of production as well. So I definitely understood, the process that y'all went through day to day. So I'm happy I went through the program, being the first iteration of it. So good job.
Yeah.
All right, thank
Pr-
you.
Proud of
Yeah.
your work, guys.
Yep.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Way to go. Thank you.
Yep. All right, take a little break.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
All right, we're back here at the, what do we call this? The Brightspeed House, Players League House. Which one is it?
Brightspeed House, Players League House,
All that.
Ahman's house.
All right.
Technically, it's part of Ahman's house.
Yeah, so we caught up with some of the players of the Players League, some of the students that were interacting with each other, with the content that the Players League gave out to every high school to conduct the commercials, to be competitive in the leagues in terms of start playing against playing Madden with a game they're usually not played in high school esports these days. I say a history of it is really not in the college esports anymore.
Right.
For the sports games, which you think is crazy with some of the OGs. That's what started esports was Madden games, NBA 2K, and now it's more the Rocket Leagues, the Valorant, League of Legends, stuff like that, which is okay. But now we have faculty members here that help direct both programs over at Bayport and at Southwest. Green Bay was able to get them, part of it. That was that was my one fun task. I was like, I was to call back to them, to Green Bay and Bayport to say, hey, would you like to want to jump in this league? Because I was at both. I coached traditional sports, football and baseball, and I worked out. I helped out in the weight room as well at Southwest. But at Bayport, I helped. I was a volunteer coach my first year of esports there with Mr. Lucas.
Wow.
Was the business teacher, but he's like, I need some help. I need somebody
Full circle.
that knows a little bit about video games in terms of the competitive side of esports, what's going on. And a friend of a friend called me in, Damon LaCroix, who is one of the administrators of the Swamico school district.
Nice.
Reached out to me, and I said, heck yeah, I was like, where do I need to go? And so I did. So now they're here, and so I kind of come full circle to bring them, not only now get to teach and coach, but actually get to put the kids through something, I think we'll hear from both faculty members here. A important project for their development, right? Going to the college level. So we'll start here. Just give me names, because I've been busy all week again.
I'm Zach Stenerson. Nice to meet you.
Zach.
Ephraim.
All right, so we'll start with you, Zach, with over at Bayport. And like I said, hearing about the program, I think it was either through email or then we had the face-to-face as well. I know I had the first face-to-face with you and some of the kids. So how was that first interaction, and what was the conversation before and after? Because I know y'all were talking a lot when you got the email from me in the first place.
Yeah, we were super excited from the beginning. I remember that first meeting fondly, and kind of fortunate because some of my officers in the esports club, I have them as TAs, so I have 6 of them that come to the lab third hour most days. And so we arranged a meeting, and I was like, hey, we're going on this call for this stay plugged in thing. And they're like, what? And I'm like, the thing we talked about the other day. I'm like, oh, yeah, that. So I'm like, all right. And then they were kind of reluctant to hop on camera, but then we got all 7 of us on frame. And
really? And reluctant on camera? Really?
Yeah.
That's surprising.
It was awesome. Yeah. And then
Okay.
they kind of got the spiel, and they were excited after that to see what was coming next. It was a long 8-week. I mean, even the planning stage was even longer, but
Right.
It was not that long in a bad way, but long in we really enjoyed the journey and the process
Good.
to get here. And I'm super proud of what they've accomplished, especially like you said, Madden's not super popular amongst the youth as much anymore, but it was cool to watch them go from not knowing the game at all. Some students, some of ours didn't even know the game of football.
Wow.
And so imagine trying to play Madden, but not even knowing the rules of football. So
Correct.
It was really cool to see them progress and get better. And really, it was awesome to see the commercial that they made.
Nice.
And I'm really excited to see how that all plays out.
So,
Yeah. Oh.
so I want to hit on that a little bit, because I remember the very first time we interacted, and it was with your class, and nobody wanted to play Madden. They're like, y'all do Rocket League? Do y'all
Yeah.
do this game?
I had the feeling that was happening.
But, with what we do at Stay Plugged In, our intent is to bring community together through gaming, because they love gaming, whether it's Madden, tic-tac-toe, Valorant, whatever it is. Kids like to game, period. And it's just a matter of how could we bring them together to do something somewhat impactful, something that they can walk away from and say, hey, that was pretty neat. But I like to hear that, because meaning that they don't really or didn't really care to play Madden, but they got into it as they progressed, because it's it's just another game. It's really about the camaraderie.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
put an ABC game, and it doesn't really ultimately matter. It's about who am I with, who am I playing with, who am I interacting with, and that's the fun part at the end of the day, even more so than the game itself. So it was cool to hear that background, that they walked in not playing their favorite game or a game that they definitely wanted to play. It was more of a, do we have to? They ended up enjoying it, so that's kind
They
of cool.
did, yeah. One of my students, they really struggled to score points, but eventually when they started scoring touchdowns, they were like really excited about it. So
It's
that's
an
awesome. Yeah.
It's like anything else. It's an accomplishment. So
Yeah. So over at Southwest, we got I think an email from Ahman to
Yeah.
our athletic director.
Yep. And Chris.
And yeah, he forwarded to us and said this is a really cool opportunity for us, and if we were interested in that, and we jumped on board immediately. We went a little bit differently. We had a Madden side and a STEM side because we kind of, like you were talking about earlier, we kind of knew that our students would know one or the other.
Gotcha.
So we let them choose. Do you want to play the Madden side of the game, or do you want to do the video production and stuff like that? And we had, I think, a team of 3 for the video production and a team of 8 for the Madden side. And I think that worked out really well for us. Our Madden kids were great at just talking to each other about how they did versus like the previous student that they were playing with, and just building off of that, learning against them and stuff.
scouting
like that.
report.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They were. That's
They
what I
were
said.
Scouting
They
reports.
were
I love
watching
it.
videos. They were,
I
the
love it.
streams were great for them. They loved that part when you guys posted those, because they were watching those to see how the other players were doing and stuff like that. So that was really, really cool as well.
I like
but
that.
yeah.
Question off of that. So you did it different, which again, fantastic. You know, you're bringing 2 different communities together. Did they interact much with each other during this process?
So part of that was pretty cool for the ad part, because we did have some of our players become actors in our ad.
Love it.
So that worked out really, really well, and it was really cool to see them there. You actually do not see too many of our STEM kids in there because they're doing the back end stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, they interacted on some parts. Yeah.
Very cool.
Nice.
Very cool.
I just want to add that we were scouting you guys as well.
Yeah. your player was great. A lot of talk about Tux Bear, so that was really, really cool.
We had a lot of talk about the Ravens and how they might be an OP team in Madden, but
yeah.
Yeah, I get that a lot because I play with Ravens online, and trust me, I have conversations with very few conversations with my opponents, because eventually I put them on mute because of things I don't want to hear because of the OP roster of having Derrick Henry in the offensive line, you know, and they have a really good defense. So
Right.
you play hardball ball and get the victory. That's what you do. So
that's what you got to do. yeah.
exactly.
It's all about the W.
Yes, indeed.
From your perspective, because you're educators, and this is always front of mind for me, you know, our intent to do the Players League is very straightforward. How do we utilize the love students have for gaming to try to create an impactful pathway? How do we have them start to figure out that, hey, I can take this skill set, whether it's on the gaming side or on the STEM project side, into a college, because those things are attractive. There's scholarships for gaming, right? At the end of the day, that's our bread and butter. But at the same token, based on these resumes that they're ultimately creating by creating these video Super Bowl ads, as I call them, et cetera, or any other type of content that we have them create, that's attractive for collegiate recruiters as well. So that's one. That's an obvious reason we do this way. But secondarily, bringing in someone like an Ahman Green or other football players that were part of this, bringing in some of the companies and or colleges to help create a level of stickiness, another level of engagement almost, right? Or responsibility. Hey, I don't want to let these guys down that have been walking me through this. Curious from your perspective, how did that play out? Did that work? Did you find that the students were coming in and saying, I want to do this, I like to do this? Or was this kind of, get in here, you got to do this?
So our Madden kids loved playing Madden, so they were definitely
In
all
heaven.
aboard. Yeah, exactly. They were all for that. Our STEM kids as well, they were really having fun building the video and doing like that and learning new things. I don't know if many of our kids knew how to use the software that they were using to create the videos, so that was really cool. Seeing especially how much they didn't know and how much they know now, because they got really, really far in such a short time, 8 weeks and stuff like that. Yeah. And it's really, really cool to see their video come out, and I'm proud. I'm very proud of it.
Same.
So yeah,
we are too.
Yeah, I think there was some video production experience amongst my students, but not in the context really of esports. Like, we do our own streams, and some of the students are in classes where they make video production things, but the connection to esports was definitely valuable. And, you know, we do things as a team connected to the game, but doing something as a team that was a little bit more academic, that was really awesome to see because it's just a different context to see my students. And, you know, I can obviously help them out a bit more if I know, you know, how they work as a group in a different setting. So, yeah, it was really awesome. It was a nice change of pace, to be honest. Like, I know it was like, sometimes it'd be like, okay, we got to do the STEM stuff, but we always find the right time to do it. On Madden days, we're like, we're going to play Madden. We're going to do the STEM stuff at a different time. But like, they were really focused, hyper-focused on the competition day. But then they'd be hyper-focused when it came time to do the commercial creation and work. I don't think my students had used DaVinci Resolve at all before. So that was, they were able to, you know, I don't know if master it is the right word, but definitely get way better at it than they were initially. So
I do love that you guys chose DaVinci Resolve though, because it's a free software that they can take with them after this.
Correct.
Yep. So that's what I really like too, is if they really fell in love with video creation and stuff like that, go ahead, go do it. It's free. You can download it on your own and just start building new ads and stuff like that. Sounds really cool.
And I believe it's at the college level. That's what they use, or they start them off their freshman year. So now being in high school, they already have that part of getting over it, learning it, already done. So if they, you know, when they go to college and go into the same area, production, they definitely have that, you know, under their wing already, being educated in.
100%. It's about that foundational growth, right? Just can we plant the seeds and find out where their interest lies? You know, some of the students are certainly going to walk away and say, not for me, and that's fine. And others may say, that was really cool. I want to learn more. And to your point, I can do it at home now. It's free.
I'm also interested to see who we want to probably show the ad to our student body, and it would be cool to see who's like, well, I want to learn more about that. How did you guys do that? And then we can also promote that end too. So.
And that's the end game. At the end of the day, obviously we did this more of a pilot program, so kind of smaller in scope. But ultimately, we want this to benefit anybody and everybody, basically, whether they're a gamer or not, is irrelevant. At the end of the day, it's bringing that community of students together to compete in a fun fashion, whether it's on the STEM side, gaming side, or a little bit of both. Last thing for me, anyway, question-wise, the experiential side. That's part of what we definitely wanted to tie into this league. I mean, look at where we are, right, at the end of the day. Now, granted, you guys live here, so it's a little bit better, but we've got kids from Houston here, right? We've got kids coming in from North Carolina, on and on and on. So that's one. And again, they get to interact with professional athletes. To me, you know, that's a big part of what we try to program as well, because I know with, and I don't want to speak for Ahman, but we see the world very similarly in terms of providing access to students and trying to motivate students in different ways to really help provide a spark in some capacity. Now, for some students, they may not need that, but all it takes is one way for one of them to learn one thing to feel like, this is it. I found what I love. And an experience like this, in my opinion, helps amplify that. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I absolutely agree. The kinds of students that, I mean this out of a place of love for sure. The kinds of students that attract esport or attracted to esports, they're not, you know, your varsity athletes. They're not students who are, they're generally students who are kind of on the fringe, I would say.
Exactly.
They're like myself in high school. And so I think building that camaraderie and then connecting it to this experience, and then also being able to meet NFL players who, even me as a 41-year-old adult, I'm still like, I've just met my first 2 NFL players in real life today. And in my mind, I'm like, I want to think of them sort of as, put them on this big pedestal because of the way society views football and all that. And, you know, it's hard to break away from that. But when it comes down to it, we're all just people doing the same thing.
Exactly.
And I think that's really cool that sort of moment and that feeling is captured with what you've put together here. And, you know, I'm super grateful for it. And I think
you gave us a great platform to just showcase our students and what they've done. And hopefully for that, like, other people see this and reach out to their schools and, you know, start asking about esports programs there and stuff like that. Yeah, I think you're really helping us grow in general. So I really appreciate the platform you're giving us.
Well, as the saying goes, it takes a village. This was such a collaborative effort. You know, I can remember not days ago, a year ago or so now, you know, Ahman and I just chatting about how could we help? What could we do together to really try to bring more to the students? And then who can come in and help support that. You know, Brightspeed coming in as their title sponsor here, really giving us the resources to pull this off at this level. You know, I mean, what the kids are going to remember, really thanks to Brightspeed and what they're able to help us kind of put out in front of these students, not just here in Green Bay, but again, in a variety of different cities where they're going to have to travel. We have to put them up overnight and everything else. So, but it provides that, again, camaraderie, not just in their comfort zone of Green Bay, but now they're talking to and competing with, meeting with today, folks from Houston and Carolina and New England and so forth. So,
well, and you know, doing the commercial and thinking about Brightspeed, you know, it's not a company that I'd personally heard of. Now I saw a Brightspeed ad in the wild, and I recognized, like, hey, that's the Brightspeed ad that we saw. And so, kind of learning what their needs were, and then how you were able to make a partnership with them, and you're both sort of feeding each other in a way. And that's how I feel with our connection with you at Stay Plugged In, because we see esports as valuable as educators, but it's hard to communicate that value to people who aren't super familiar with it. So
100%.
it's like this big this circle of awesomeness. I don't know.
No, we run across that every day. It's video games. What are you talking about? But we look at it as a distinct passion that students have, and it's not going. I mean, that's growing year over year. We're in a different world than even when I was growing up. We found folks that are key ambassadors that love the gaming industry and the gaming world, I should say, in general, but at the same token want to provide impact to community. So again, it's the right type of partnership too. You know, getting the right people engaged that really have the right messaging, the right outcomes that we want to see, and everything else. And we're not perfect by any stretch, but that's why we're doing this pilot, to learn more, so that the next iteration just gets better and better. Which leads me to my next question: what could we do better? How could we improve upon this program?
On our end, the only real big thing that we ran into was issues with like DaVinci Resolve and the cloud platform. We had to quickly pivot. Yeah, exactly. It's not your fault. So it's just like, and that's the thing about like learning a program. You gotta be on your on your feet and learning how to fix things and stuff like that. So that's the only real issue that we ran into. But that was like you mentioned, it's not on your end, and we quickly fixed that by doing everything locally on the computer. And yeah, it worked out really well. I can't think of too much. Maybe more schools. It'd be cool to have just more schools. But like you mentioned, this is a pilot. You guys are going to grow after this. So yeah, I think you guys did an amazing job.
Thank you.
Good to hear.
Yeah, and honestly, we were, after the first week when we were playing 3 matches initially, like that was going to be like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I'm very glad that we learned after that, because we were staying fairly late. So.
And so I would say that to me, the scheduling aspect and trying to like align all of that that's a lot, but you know, we were able to do it and it was manageable. But otherwise, you know, overall we had a great experience with it. Scheduling is just a thing in esports. That's always
the case.
So.
Especially when you're doing time zones and
Eastern and Central. Definitely know that. Face It, when I was at Lakeland, Face It's over in England.
Yes.
Oh no.
And they were determining organizers.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
And so we were calling them, and they was like, 6 to 8 hours ahead of us. So trust me, definitely an esports thing.
At every level. Every level. Well, listen, sincerely appreciate your support, first and foremost, because without you being the adult in the room, it's not possible for your kids. So thanks, first and foremost. We're excited about certainly this iteration of what we've done, and we'll look to do more and kind of poke your brains a little bit to see, again, where else can we grow? How else can we be doing it better? How can we provide more impact to the student? Because at the end of the day, I think that's why we're all here. So we appreciate it. Pleasure to meet you both.
Thank you so
being
much.
on.
Thanks.
Yep.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
You're welcome. Thanks.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra-fast, Brightspeed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
here. Welcome back to Ahman Green's Gamer Lounge podcast and the Players League conversation that's been going on today here for the last 45 minutes or so. But we have another set of good people to talk to. Good friend and teammate Chris Francis here. There was also a mentor along with myself here in the Players League, and Gabriel from Woodlands Christian.
Yes, sir.
Academy. Is it Academy?
Academy. Yes,
Academy. Woodlands Christian Academy in North Texas. Not far from me. I'm in Richmond, so I'm a little south of him. So, how was his first experience, his first iteration for yourself, playing in this Players League for yourself, playing a game maybe I think a lot of players didn't play, right? So how was that transition going into it?
I mean, it was fun. I had a lot of fun doing the whole thing. Learning how to use Discord and meeting up with those people, and then playing the games and. I actually learned how to play the game by doing this. I didn't have Madden 25 before I started playing, but I figured it out, and I mean, I had a great time. It was fun.
Nice.
He's a big 25 player, college.
Oh, college.
College, yeah.
So who's your team on there?
I don't play. I play Ultimate Team. I don't play the.
Oh, you put your team together.
Yeah, I build one. I don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Did you find my card on there?
I actually play with the card right now. He's my starting running back. 98 overall.
Oh, that's an interview over. That's it.
There you go. So, yeah. So you were you were on the Madden side. Did you get a chance to dip your toes into the production at all?
I did pretty much all the editing for our commercial.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I was in any of the actual recording clips, but I put it all together, and with a little help of our supervisor, but I pretty much did all the editing for it, so yeah.
Gotcha. And you talked about, when I first asked you about the Madden, you said you're just getting into and learning it. So what was the hardest part about picking up the Madden game itself? Because, it's, football. You think you watch it a little bit. Being in Texas, I know you watch a lot of football.
Yeah, I do.
You can't avoid it. It's Texas. So, but how was it now getting in and transitioning into the game?
Well, I actually had been playing Madden prior to Madden 25, but the game just felt a little different. It feels a little slower, and that was pretty much the biggest change for me. I had to figure out how the engine worked in the game, and then once I figured that out and how the actual movement went together, I think I already knew pretty much all the schemes. I think because I've been playing it for a while. So, but just figuring out the actual movement of the game was the biggest part for me.
Yeah, adjustment. Basically adjusting. Got it.
Very cool. I got to ask. You started, obviously, this process way back when we had our initial meeting around the Players League.
Right.
Flash forward to where we are today. Lambeau Field's right there. You're sitting next to two ex-Green Bay players. Is this kind of what you expected?
I had no idea what was going to happen when I went into this. I didn't even know if I was going to have a chance to even do this, but this is really, this is amazing.
Nice.
Love to hear it. I want to bring Chris into the conversation a little bit because I know when we first interacted, outside of football, right? Back to normal life.
Yep.
And family man, loves his fishing, does a lot of other things, but took some time to come back and interact with the students. First, I want to know why and why that was important to you.
For me, it was just getting a basic understanding of what the students were doing as far as playing video games because, again, I'm not a video game player myself. I like to be outside, but I knew I could give some qualities as far as, eating right, make sure you're practicing, make sure you're staying disciplined on those certain things. So just giving what I could to make sure they stand in the right path, the right lane is what I want to do. Like I said, I'm a high school football coach. I want to pass on what I've learned to wherever I can.
And correct me if I'm wrong, this is for both of you, but the skills it took you to get onto a football field at a professional level, obviously you're both blessed with an athletic gene that most students don't get, right? But there's other skills and other habits, I should call, that you have to be successful on the football field that correlate to the real world, to the business world.
100%.
And I think that type of sharing, like you're alluding to, of what that takes to Gabe and all the other students that participated, hopefully not just resonates, but sticks with them because they're hearing it from you. They might hear it from mom, dad, their teachers, etc. And they're like, yeah, we get it.
In and out.
But now you saw his smile, right? This is amazing. He hears it from you all. And again, it just takes one person to say the message a little differently to make a difference.
Right.
And I think that's, for us, from Stay Plugged In's perspective, why we wanted y'all to come in because y'all don't know when that impact's going to hit. It
Mhm.
might have been in this league. It might be a year from now or 2 years from now, but it resonates. It sticks. You
Right.
know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So from that perspective, talk about both of y'all, kind of what you contributed from a life skills perspective, not necessarily what it took to get you on the field, but what it meant to you all to at least be able to express that back to the students.
Yeah, it was the biggest. I'll say for me, it was like what I just asked Gabriel. Or said to Gabriel, the adjustment. To Madden or whatever. So it's just learning how to adjust, because that's something me and Chris learned. From our rookie. His rookie year was a different year from mine, but the same thing was we were adjusting constantly. We got a playbook thrown at us. It was fire hose. And you got to process I got to process from, run plays to pass plays. He's got to process not only the run and pass, but also reading coverages downfield as a wide receiver. I picked that up a little bit later, but it was just constant movement, constant adjustment of either dealing with new coaches, because we're going from our college coaches now to the professional coaches that have obviously most likely have a lot less patience than our college coaches. So we're adjusting, to that aspect of it. And then from a scheme standpoint, what our offense did, my offense was a run first, run second, run third. And now I'm sitting in a passing offense in the NFL team, when I got drafted to Seattle. So it's just constant adjustment. I think learning how to do that,
right?
As a professional, no matter what your job is, you adjust on the fly. If you get good at that, you're able to, stay keep your head above water in a lot of situations.
Right. For me, it's the discipline aspect. I know as an athlete, you have to be disciplined in what you eat, how you work out. The same things pertain to a person playing video games. They still need to practice. They still need to have the right foods for them, because if they just eat sweets all day, they're going to at some point crash. So you still need to be able to have that energy to go out and perform at your best. And hand-eye coordination with the controller. I haven't picked up a controller in some years. I'm sure I would be terrible at Madden right now, because it's just, if you don't play it, you just lose that aspect of, all right, where's the X button, Y button? Do they still have those, X and Y?
Yes.
A, B? Okay.
Yeah.
Again,
We're playing after this.
it'll be an easy win for you. It's just a point of just continuing just to build on your craft. And again, when it comes to video games, if you don't play video games, you can't get good. If you don't go out and run a route consistently and do it all the time, that corner's gonna be able to sit on it, and he's gonna know your tendencies. What you do at the top of route, you might stand up straight and come back down. So when they're watching film, they're gonna pick on that, and he's gonna know when to break on it. Same thing when it comes to video games. I'm sure there are certain tendencies that you guys do that this player might start to understand, all right, he's going to run this play every 5 times because he wants to get a first down, or he knows that we play this certain defense. So video games and playing sports, they relate due to certain things that they do to where other teams or other players can pick up on. Exactly. It's all about the discipline aspect of understanding who you're playing against and what you need to do to figure out how to beat them.
Exactly.
Gabe, I hope you're soaking this up, because that's powerful information that, again, in the real world,
good stuff,
all applies.
Mm-hmm.
Your highest level corporate execs, et cetera, apply exactly what these guys are talking about constantly. So it's more than just kind of the game. But alongside of that, obviously you had a STEM project, you had the game. What do you think, in your opinion, was your favorite part of the league? Now that you can look back, now it's over. What was the favorite part? What's going to stand out most when you're home a month or 2 or 3 from now?
I would say probably my favorite part was the team of guys that I was playing with, because I didn't really know everybody going into this, because
awesome.
It was people that I didn't know in the school that wanted to join with us, and then I actually got to get to know them. And we found, we were on the same Discord chat to find our guy we're going to play the next week, and we ended up making a group chat and talking and getting to know each other, and I think that was really fun. I mean, the game, you can always play more games. You can, this part being here, this is really cool.
Yeah.
But also meeting some people in my school I didn't really know. That was probably really fun for me.
Awesome.
That's awesome to hear. I mean, that to me, that warms my heart when I hear a student say, I got to meet people I didn't interact with necessarily before in my school. And that was my favorite part of it. So kudos to you to, again, take the leap of faith to be joining us in the league, first and foremost. It sounds like you're getting some benefits from it in general. I am happy to see you here, boots on the ground, right by Lambeau Field. He's here today. I'm going to promote it. He's got a prom on Saturday, so he won't be here on Saturday.
I heard about
There
you.
you go.
So
this is a player.
That's it. We'll leave it at that. We'll cut it right there. We'll cut it right there. But that's all we're going to have time for this segment, because we got one more coming up, and I know we're going to have to cut off our podcast time frame wise. But again, we sincerely appreciate you.
Yep.
Again, taking that leap of faith, being here. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Enjoy every second of it while you're here in Green Bay during the draft. And we appreciate, obviously, your participation. As you can see,
Thank you.
it's impactful. So
Yeah.
we appreciate you.
Thank
you
you.
both.
Thank you.
All right, Gabe.
Thank you very much.
All right, Chris.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate being here.
Yeah,
Yep.
thank you.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra fast, bright speed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.
Right here, we're back here at Ahman Green's Gamers Out podcast via Lambeau Field, Green Bay, NFL Draft Week starting. This is actually opening day here. So now to my right, I bring in Brightspeed, some of the crew of Brightspeed. You got my man Brian, Super Bowl buddy here, who I met, and we had a good time there. And also bringing in head of marketing for Brightspeed, Karen. How you doing?
Great to be here.
All right.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thanks for coming. Coming
Yeah.
to Green Bay. Lambeau, first time?
First time.
Green Bay.
It's
There it is.
unbelievable. I mean, I literally can't believe we're like across the street.
Yeah. When he
right now.
texted me the address a couple
phenomenal.
weeks ago, I was like,
Yeah.
I knew exactly where. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, you fall to your
Mhm.
right, you're
Yeah.
in the parking lot of Lambeau Field. So
Yeah, I immediately
job.
sent a picture to my husband just to let him know how close we were.
Oh,
Everyone back home is jealous.
That's right.
Everyone back
That's
home
right.
is jealous.
Yep.
That was the goal. Mission accomplished.
Yep.
got it.
Players League. Wanted to talk about the involvement with Brightspeed because without Brightspeed, none of this is possible. Again, our iteration and our thought process, and Ahman and I kind of strategizing, is how can we help our communities with connectivity?
Yep.
How could we help our communities with technology? But how could we create some stickiness, right? How do we get not students just the ability to participate, but how do we get them coming back? Because that's part of it, right? Great. We don't want to be a one and done.
No, let's get them hooked.
Correct.
Yeah,
So
get 'em hooked to it
the whole
in a good
part,
way.
in a good way, in a good way for sure. The whole part of that conceptually was obviously to put a career directly in front of the students through the ruse of, hey, you're going to come in to play a game, which they all love to do. But there's a project associated with it. But alongside of that project, you're going to get mentored by NFL current and retired players that they probably know, if they did. They're going to be able to interact with different companies to talk specifically about what it
which
is
is
that they
cool.
were creating, content creation. And then last but not least, be able to connect with regional colleges that can talk about, hey, whether you play the game or not, what you're working on can be impactful for you coming into these schools. So from your perspective over at Brightspeed, as you're hearing us out and saying, hey, we have a pretty interesting idea for a pilot program. You bid on it. I want to know why. How does that align with what you do at Brightspeed? What was the importance of this relationship for you all? Now that not just from the starting perspective, because I'm sure when you started, you were like us. I'm like, we got to pull this off now. But then from the finish line now, because you're here, right? You're getting to interact with the families on and off camera. You're hearing some of these stories. So I'd like to hear from you all how it started and where it is today.
Sure, I could start with that. So, as you know, Brightspeed is a fiber internet provider, right? So if you look just logistically, to be able to game in any capacity, whether it's STEM, professional, or just chilling out on the couch, that lag, that ping rate is very vital. So do you have to have a great internet stable, fast connection? So it just goes together very, very well, with an esports environment or a gaming environment. So that's the first thing. Secondly, as a dad of kids that game, right, and a gamer myself, it's fun. That's that's fun to do. It's a good thing for kids to be able to have fun and interact. And gaming has come so far since we were kids playing, Atari and ColecoVision and stuff like that, where you actually can interact with people. And talking with some of the kids here today, and even in the past through Spin, they love that. They love that camaraderie, being able to talk to one another, things of that nature. And that's kind of what Brightspeed is wanting to bridge that digital divide from, you don't necessarily need to be sitting right next to the person to have that friend. There are a lot of folks out there that are, they have a rough time trying to talk to someone for the first time. But when you're gaming with them, it's completely different, right? So it's giving them like more motivation and more courage to be able to build those relationships. So that's the first staple. Secondly, from a parent perspective, is why I did this, because once I started learning more about esports and what that meant, I was not as hard on my boys for being in their room playing video games anymore. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And once I was educated by Rick's team about the paths that this could lead to for a student, right? I was blown away. And I'm like, more parents need to know this. They need to understand that it's okay, that there's a pathway for your student within an esport environment. So that's where it started now. And then, getting buy-in from Brightspeed's leadership to say, hey, this is something special, right? So that's where we're at today. So I'm so happy to have folks from Brightspeed here at this event in Green Bay to kind of see it all in at one time. So
it's really great to the partnership aligns so well with some of the things that we're trying to do at Brightspeed, which is the ability to provide that access, right? First and foremost, that access to superior quality fiber internet that that allows you to be at par with some of these other areas. And so it allows those students to kind of, experience e-gaming at the level that they really want to be at. It also provides opportunities, right? Like opportunities to do things within a space that either they didn't have access to or didn't know that there was more to it than just gaming with friends, right? There's legitimate opportunities, educational opportunities that was something that we were really invested in as well at Brightspeed. So it's a really great partnership and fit for us. Seeing some of the commercials that these kids put together was phenomenal, and their abilities to be able to do that, and how this partnership was able to kind of branch out into that area as well and give them an opportunity to build something that, it's always hard. We'd like, what do you want to be when you grow up? And you have no idea, because you're really focused on just like what I'm introduced to, and being able to provide them an experience that maybe they wouldn't have had elsewhere, otherwise. To build a commercial, I've been building commercials in my adult life for a very long time, but I had never experienced that as a kid. And if I had, right? It's just a phenomenal opportunity, and to be able to come here and see it brought to life it's fantastic.
I think for us, awesome answers. I think for us, looking at, because you bring up, the opportunity to compete on e-games or esports, as we call it here, Brightspeed is a natural connection, right? Because without that good internet connectivity, we've all been there. We saw the commercials as well, kids throwing remotes. We've all done that to some capacity.
Yeah.
But almost, if not even more important, the ability to connect online to get additional educational opportunities. Because think of how frustrating that must be. Think of how much of a turnoff that must be. And by default, that means that could potentially change that particular student's trajectory, because they get so frustrated that I can't log in to get this certification or go through these exam notes or whatever else without great connectivity that Brightspeed provides. That's someone that we lose at the end of the day. So I'm glad we can bring them together through gaming. Don't get me wrong, we're a gaming company at our core. We always will be. But what the phrase we like to use is trick them into learning. Use those games to provide that pathway.
That's right,
But without partnerships like what you all provide, we can't do that. So obviously we're incredibly thankful for the partnership that we do have, and to be able to provide this type of experience. 'Cause I've never been to Lambeau Field either, for the record. And I'm sitting here looking at this saying, wow, I didn't ever talk to Ahman Green post a year and a half ago.
Exactly.
Which now we chat all the time. But we have a common goals. And that's part of it. We align with these common goals to really help communities grow.
It's so weird, too, because of the Players League being partnered with former and current NFL players. When Brightspeed first took off, how I used to communicate what Brightspeed was trying to do was by literally telling people that Brightspeed's trying to bring NFL city speeds into non-NFL cities. So, all those cities that are out there that don't have an NFL team, right? Think of that as a customer that's out a little bit too far away from a metro area that's getting slower internet speeds because, there's not a lot of density there, or the market, whatnot is not, keen for companies to come in and spend money on them. Well, that's what we're doing. That's what differentiates us from competitors, is that we're actually putting money in those folks' communities so that they can get those NFL city speeds. So, and then when this came up, I'm like, we got to do this.
Easy.
Yeah.
No-brainer.
It is a no-brainer. But that's important to understand, too, for those that are learning more about us. Stay plugged in, learning a little bit more about Players League, learning a little bit more about Brightspeed. Again, how do we impact those communities that need it the most, right? Because if it's not there by default, they can't, one of our players earlier said it, Gabe, his favorite part was connecting on Discord over the internet with other students that he wasn't able to connect with before in his own school.
Add to school.
So without that connectivity that Brightspeed provides, that's not an option, or it's not an opportunity, right? So bringing what we're all collaborating around to these communities to help bolster the opportunity for community, camaraderie, education, gaming. I mean, that's what it's all about.
Helps break down some of those stereotypes, right, that you hear about esports and it being very isolating and, you're not getting out. But, this actually opens up the door
100%.
to being, finding friends, finding companions, finding people who are like-minded. And kind of opening up your world.
No, 100%. And it's funny because one of the teachers that's mentioned, esports, you get a lot of students that might not have been able to be engaged in your traditional stick and ball sports, but this was an opportunity for them, which is great. I'm glad we're reaching the entire population. But part of the reason we developed Players League, in all sincerity, because I coached baseball for a very long time, most of the students aren't going to be Ahman Green.
Right.
Think of all the football players, soccer players, baseball players, any other sport players that think they're going to go pro one day. And I'm not here to crush dreams. Keep chasing those dreams, but the numbers show.
Yeah, it gets a little smaller and smaller as you get higher and higher.
Yeah.
Almost
in
impossible.
terms of grades. Yeah.
Don't act like you know. You don't know.
He doesn't know.
I know the numbers, though.
He's like, I've heard.
I've heard that it's hard.
So as we launch next season
Yeah,
of
I can't
Players
wait.
League,
I
the
can't wait.
thought process is make sure we're engaging more football players. And the reason why is they can learn how to do what we taught this other group or whatever we put in front of them, whether it's cybersecurity, content creation, AI, whatever topic we go with next. So they have a little bit of a landing pad. I mean, think about that. I'll just talk about my experiences with baseball. Students practicing day in and day out over and over and over again where they couldn't spend as much attention necessarily in the classroom. Not that they were bad students, but they were focused on trying to get to the next level of playing baseball. And a lot of them aren't going to get there. But programs like this at least provide an opportunity of, hey, if you don't make it here, look at this career, or look at this career, look at your resume you're building, because that's valuable. So that's why I think uniquely partnerships like this can impact so many people for so many different reasons.
And that's why it's important for the parents to understand that too.
100%.
So that you get that, I get that, we get that here, but how many parents out there don't?
It's video games.
So it's video games,
Right.
and you're,
Well, and like the advancement of technology too, right? Like that's going to continue to accelerate. It's going to continue to grow, and being involved in this keeps you at the forefront, right, of a lot of that. So, yes, you're playing, you're doing your video games, but you're also, as you get involved in this program, the students are able to get involved in this program, learning, not just like accelerating their skills, but also broadening their skills as well.
And it breaks down some barriers of fear or intimidation when you hear about video editing or cybersecurity or artificial intelligence and what is all that? Well, now when you're immersed in it in a fun environment and you get to do these types of things, it's like, what's next? It's kinda cool.
Right?
Yeah. Very cool.
Get you hungry for it.
Well, I know we have been here for a bit today.
Yeah.
Any
good time.
Parting shots from anybody in the crowd before we?
I'll say in terms of I say learning the way around in terms of being somebody that's going to be in a space of esports, competitive esports, or learning different things. I say kind of a trick learned for me was I think you mentioned somebody mentioned something about tossing a controller or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the commercials. What'd you see the commercials on Saturday?
So I remember mom and dad real
we've
quick.
all tossed a controller once.
Yeah.
No,
I've broke.
Well,
many.
one Sega Genesis, tossed it. Mom came in my room and said, "What's going on? What's all that racket?" She looked on the floor. She saw my Sega Genesis controller, and she said, "You break it, you buy it." And I'm like,
That's all it
"Huh?"
took.
I was like, I was a smart 8-year-old, and I'm like,
And it only came with one.
Yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah.
Right. Genesis
And
only
so
came with one.
I went to my dad's toolbox. He was an IT guy at Northrop Aviation in Southern California. So I went to his toolbox, grabbed his soldering iron,
Oh my goodness.
electrical
8?
tape. This is at 8.
Oh.
Crazy glue, and put everything
You
back
want
together.
something bad enough.
Yes. And I found out I can't throw it. If I ain't
Yeah,
got no money.
learn
I'm
that
8. I'm
quick.
broke.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you were soldering and fixing a remote control at 8, then you should have had money.
Yeah. Well,
Some way.
I was hovering on my dad when he was fixing PCs
Ideas
in the
for
kitchen.
next
Wow.
Players League.
Yeah.
Soldering controllers.
Yeah.
Exactly. So learn that real quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know.
And you had to learn it once.
That's all. It took one time,
That's
and that's the one and only time I ever did. And I tell that story to all my players and students I get to mentor. Say,
Yeah.
this is what happened to me when I was 8, 9 years old or
Yeah.
whatever. Learned real quick.
That's right.
Yep.
Wow.
So,
Good deal.
yeah.
Mine would have stayed broke, if I'm being honest. Just for the record. But
Oh.
well, we appreciate you guys.
Yep.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much for
Rick,
coming on.
thanks.
Thank you.
Ahman, appreciate
Thank you
it.
guys.
So much.
Brian.
Appreciate it.
Karen.
Great to
nice
meet you.
meeting Yes.
Enjoy the draft.
Ah, come on. Come on. Before I switched to Brightspeed fiber internet, things like slow speeds and random dead spots really brought out the troll in me. I mean, I spent hours causing trouble. But then I switched to Brightspeed's fast, reliable fiber internet, and the rest is sunshine and unicorns. Looks amazing, Barbara.
Ultra fast, bright speed fiber internet. Switch to the bright side.